This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Spoiler number 1 is Dr. Lee frowns. It stinks.
What is going on? What is going on?
Episode 126, Submission 1700. Oh, Madeline. Oh, Madeline aired on ABC from September 27th, 1983 to March 13th, 1984 for a total of 18 episodes.
So what can we say about the early to mid 80s? Madeline Kahn had a sitcom. Yes, Madeline Kahn, star of Stage, Screen, and Clue. God,
Yeah, multi-talented, yes.
Oh, one of the legends in comedy.
Unappreciated, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, especially if you ever watch Madeline Kahn's appearances on Saturday Night Live back in the day, gold.
Indeed.
Yes.
So, and ABC was, if I'm not mistaken, this would be a year or two removed from Three's Company's cancellation, right?
No, this would be around the last year of Three's Company.
Oh, okay.
Or the next to last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, this would coincide with the last year because Three's Company was still 84. Then you had
Three's a Crowd.
Three's a Crowd.
Which
Not
we
We
now.
just referred to not that long ago.
Yeah. With the
Yeah.
Ropers, yeah.
So ABC was basically looking for, because NBC was on the rise at that moment.
Well, not yet. I mean,
Not
this
yet,
was-
but the meat was in the sandwich. I mean, this would be...
Cheers would be in its second season in 83.
So Cheers would have been in its second season.
Family Ties would be in its second season.
Hill Street Blues would have swept the Emmys already.
Yeah.
And of course, at this time, Night Court would premiere as a mid-season replacement in January of 84, so that was coming. And of course, how dare we forget, since everything goes back to Match Game Hollywood Squares, it premiered Halloween Day of 1983.
Notice we haven't gotten to CBS yet, because I don't know how CBS was doing in the 80s. How was CBS doing in the 80s?
They had Dallas.
They had
had
Dallas,
Newhart.
Falcon Crest, Newhart.
Yeah, they were fine.
They were
around-
fine.
60 minutes. They've had 60 Minutes forever, so yeah.
Murder,
they're
She
fine.
Wrote, I believe, was the
No,
thing.
Murder, She
No,
Wrote
that was 85.
Oh, my bad.
Fall of
84,
84.
85.
Yeah, fall of 84 was Murder, She Wrote.
So ABC was basically looking for its next Three's Company, because I think somewhere along the line someone said, we're getting on an age this schedule from the early 70s, or late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, because Laverne and Shirley, I think, was in its final season. Happy Days was in its
Oh,
final
God,
season.
we're going to talk about Laverne and Shirley's final
Laverne and Shirley was, I think, gone after 82, 83. Didn't go
Sure.
to 84.
I thought it was till 84.
I
Because
can look
Eddie
it up,
Mecca was on
but-
Match Game Hollywood Squares.
I'll take a look. Definitely Happy Days was gone after the 84 season. 83, 84 season.
Hold on. Laverne and Shirley's final season was May 10th of 83 it ended.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to add. So yeah, I was right. I knew it was gone in 83. But yeah, Happy Days would have been gone after the 83, 84 season. And yeah, Mork and Mindy would have been gone, I think, 83 as well. But so the only real, the only real show you still had left from the late 70s at that point would have been Love Boat. And didn't that become like a quarterly thing once we got to like 85, 86?
Something like that.
Yeah, so it wasn't a regular series at that point. It was sort of like okay, every 3 months it comes out of mothballs. Hey, the Love Boat's going down to Cancun, and you've got to see whatever TV stars they put on. I almost said Carol Wayne. Carol Wayne would have been dead by 85, and I don't even think she did Love Boat.
I think at this point, Love Boat was probably like a summer seasonal show, kind of like in the same way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in its final 2 seasons on ABC, I guess.
Well, we've got to blame Ted McGinley for it.
Yeah.
He kills TV shows not named Married with Children because everything in this show goes back to Married with Children. Oh, I'm sorry. Match Game, Hollywood Scores, and Married with Children.
But not Wings.
We love Wings, though.
We
love Wings.
Because it made Tony Shalhoub's career.
Just don't talk about when Roy broke Lowell's blimp.
Which is a future episode.
Yeah.
That is indeed a future episode. So they're basically looking for their next big thing. They think they found it in a sitcom that aired from 1980 to 1983 on ITV called Pig in the Middle.
So the multi-talented and very lovable, she's just the most adorable little thing.
Oh, she
Madeline
is.
Kahn.
Yep.
Madeline Kahn, she had the lead in her own self-titled show, and yet it only lasted 18 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings were average, let's say. I mean, if anything nowadays did what it did back then,
it'd probably get renewal.
It would be on for 40 years. No, it would. I mean, we'll go over the numbers later, but taking a look at the ratings and what it tied with, it tied with, well, one show that sort of falls under the category that we mentioned earlier of shows that were sort of in its waning years in the mid-'80s or early '80s, and also another show that had a decent life, wasn't overly popular, but also wasn't total crap. But again, we'll talk about that later.
One thing that I found after we finished recording this episode, there's a promo spot prior to the premiere of the show on ABC that features John Ritter promoting Oh Madeline, and we will play it for you right here.
Hi, John Ritter here again at the world-famous Madeline Museum with more great Madelines in history. This Madeline was tragically wrenched out of her natural habitat and thrust into the whirlwind pace of the modern world. Madeline Kahn.
It's a nice place to visit.
Now, this Madeline had a spell cast upon her by a wicked witch. The spell could only be broken by love's first kiss from a handsome prince, sleeping Madeline.
I'm waiting.
Now, the greatest Madeline of all time, Madeline the Married.
It's old Madeline.
I did not get married and sit at home every night. I had my share of that when I was single, thank you.
Starring Madeline Kahn, following Three's Company, Tuesdays this fall.
And yeah, Ernie Anderson was at the end of the promo spot because, of course, ABC and Ernie Anderson.
So this show was actually an adaptation of, like I said, a British sitcom called Pig in the Middle. Which I was reading the description of Pig in the Middle, and I'm thinking to myself, how is this an adaptation of Pig in the Middle? This is nothing like Pig in the Middle. The Pig in the Middle, I'm reading this from TV.com. Bartholomew Barney Wade is finding marriage to his wife Susan increasingly difficult and unfulfilling. When he meets Nellie Bly at one of his wife's parties, he quickly falls for her. The two begin a lengthy relationship which, for one reason or another, never becomes intimate. As in life, many things tend to get in the way of happiness. This love triangle goes through many positions. Barney leaves Susan at the beginning of the third series, then his relationship with Nellie begins to lose its sparkle while he thinks new thoughts about Susan. So it's basically Dos Mujeres Un Camino, basically. But
now, wait, you said Nellie Bly? Not that Nellie Bly.
Not that Nellie Bly.
Okay, I just want to clear things up.
Yeah. Her full name is Penelope Bly, so.
Ah.
Yeah. Whereas, Oh Madeline, the show is about I guess you could call it a gender-flipped reboot of the show, because we have Madeline Wayne, a housewife who's bored after 10 years of marriage, and her best friend, a divorcee named Doris, and Madeline, who's bored with her life as a housewife, decides to try every trendy diversion that she can find, such as seaweed-based health foods, exercise clubs, and ladies-only clubs featuring male strippers.
Oh yeah, this is peak early '80s right there.
Yep,
Peak,
we're ticking off all the '80s boxes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, yes, this is all the early '80s stereotypes and tropes right there. I sort of totally get why this didn't last terribly long. Zero creativity.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about zero creativity? They wanted to, I'm looking at all of the information here, and it looks like they wanted to make an '80s version of I Love Lucy, which we're not that far from, by the way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but that's another episode.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I want to note is, who produced Oh Madeline?
That would be Tom Werner and Marcy Carsey.
This would be the first, I believe, production from the Carsey-Werner company.
Yep, and the first of two that involved Madeline Kahn.
Yes.
Also, in terms of producers, the producer of this was a woman whose name is Irma Kalish, and I didn't know she was a producer. Where I recognize the name from, she wrote a ton of Too Close for Comfort back in the day.
Oh.
She, and the thing is, looking at her IMDb, she was a producer, she was a writer, and a prolific one on both fronts, as a matter of fact. And it looks like Irma Kalish is still alive. She was born in 24, and it doesn't say she's deceased, so she'd be 96 years old.
Wow.
God bless her. But getting back to what she's written and what she has produced, as I said, she wrote quite a bit of Too Close for Comfort with her husband. I believe her husband's name is Austin. Not looking at IMDb for that, but yeah, they wrote a lot of. I want to say like the vast majority of Too Close for Comfort. She wrote F Troop, My Three Sons, albeit very late in the run of My Three Sons. Looks like up until the last year. Looks like from about 66 to 71, the last year of My Three Sons.
She and her husband Austin wrote for Good Times.
Oh, Good Times.
They produced Good Times, and
she's listed as a writer for 5 episodes of Good Times. Oh, she wrote 2 episodes of Carter Country, because why not? Because we frigging mentioned Carter Country, that abomination, and her name just happens to come up.
And you know who her son is? You know who Austin and Irma Kalish's son is?
Who?
Bruce Kalish, who wrote and produced everything from The Incredible Hulk, Mork and Mindy, The Fall Guy, and 3 seasons of Power Rangers.
Oh.
The SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, and Jungle Fury.
Okay. So, yeah, runs in the family.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of producing, we mentioned Good Times. IMDb says 40 episodes of Too Close for Comfort. So that's no small task. And it looks like it was primarily the first 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, 1980 to 82. And then obviously O'Madeline, Facts of Life, specifically right near again, talking about a show that was started in the late 70s and was in its last legs, getting more into the late 80s. She was a producer of 46 episodes, and it looks like it's the last 2 seasons of Facts of Life, 86 to 88, 227, Valerie. So she's got quite a diverse resume, to say the least, in writing and producing.
Yep. And like we said, this would be the first Carsey-Werner production, and also the first Carsey-Werner production involving Madeline Kahn, the first of 2 such collabos. The second, of course, would be later on down the line on CBS with Cosby.
Yeah, and Cosby itself was an adaptation, I believe, of One Foot in the Grave, another British show.
Yep.
And another fun fact, Didn't the final episode of One Foot in the Grave, if I remember correctly, go up against the first £1 million win on the UK Millionaire?
I believe so.
I seem to remember this happening on the same night.
Yep. The episode was Things Aren't Simple Anymore, and it went up against Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And I seem to recall that the actors in One Foot in the Grave were not very happy with it, I guess.
The fact that they went up against the first £1 million win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how would they know? I mean, how they know it was going to air the first £1 million win at the same time?
Hey, angry people do stupid things. What can I say?
Hey, it's not like ABC today, or in 2000, when they would spoil, anyone who was even close to the $1 million question.
So, Oh, Madeline was a show about a bored housewife who tried every trick in the book to keep entertained. Except for, strangely enough, an affair with another person, which is what the original British TV show was all about. So, yay?
Yeah.
Now begins. So, yeah. And that was pretty much the gimmick for the entire series, it looks like. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? Eventually they're going to run out of gimmicks. Well, they ran out of an audience before they could run out of gimmicks, so what the hell do I know?
They had good gimmicks. As we get into the show, there's one episode we'll talk about, which we did preview in the our little montage after the year in review show. The whole episode, I think, was very enjoyable, and it has a special guest star who we'll talk about a little bit later. But the one line in that show, it was very shocking to say the least. Again, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah. Can we go into the rest of the cast, please?
Oh, yes, we can. We already talked about Madeline Kahn, and honestly, if you don't know what Madeline Kahn's been in, what podcast are you even listening to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know, you need to do some research.
Yeah, and her husband, Charlie, was played by James Sloyan, who we all remember from 2 or 3 weeks of the Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour, but is more of a classically trained actor who is a perennial that guy from That Thing who got his start on daytime drama, Young and the Restless, General Hospital, Ryan's Hope, but never anything that lasted longer than Madeline, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you say 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, how many weeks was I off?
You're off by 1 or 2. He just did 1 week.
Yeah, he just did 1 week.
Oh, he did 1 week.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the week he was on was the week of the last episode of Oh, Madeline. Because actually the following week, and I don't want to spoil another cast member that we're going to talk about very shortly, she was on Jesse Wells, promoted as from Oh, Madeline, but the problem is the show had already been canceled at that point.
Yeah.
Or if it wasn't canceled, it was literally on its last episode. So it's gone. It be gone.
Yeah, it was gone. But James Sloyan would go on to star in a lot of cult science fiction series. He was in Buck Rogers. He was in Star Trek The Next Generation, where he played... Yep, it all comes back to TNG, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He played a defecting Romulan admiral in The Defector, and also...
He played a Romulan defector, and the episode was called The Defector.
Yeah, he also was on Deep Space Nine, where he played an adult version of Alexander Rashenko, which you all know is Worf's son.
Yes!
Who's played by Brian Bonsall.
So he played the adult version of Brian Bonsall.
He played the adult version of Brian Bonsall.
That is amazing.
And Greg should appreciate he was also on Quantum Leap.
Yes!
For one episode.
Which episode was it?
Last Dance Before an Execution, May 12th of 1971.
Okay, so that would be like, I believe, a season 3-4 episode.
It was 1991, so that would have been season 3, I think.
Yeah, it'd be season 3. And by the way,
he's got a ton of credits. Yes.
By the way, we are going to talk about an episode of Quantum Leap this year. No spoilers.
Just a bit spoilers. Oh, fun fact: his daughter Samantha could be seen in Scandal, Hush, In the Key of Eli, and Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's James Sloyan. Their friend Doris Leone, who is the divorcee, by the way,
yes,
is played by, and you mentioned her name, so we're just going to go ahead and talk about her, Jessie Wells.
Who, as mentioned in a previous episode, was in not much besides this.
Yeah, she was in Oh Madeline. She was on the week of Match Game Hollywood Squares when Oh Madeline got canceled. And that's the list. Good night, everybody.
Actually,
I'm going to correct that because she was actually had quite a big role in the last season of Soap, playing Gwen, who, if I remember correctly, I think Gwen was possibly one of the girlfriends of Billy Crystal's character.
Yes, wasn't Billy Crystal's character going to get married at the end of the 4th season? If I remember,
yeah, and that would have been that would have been a big deal in the Soap fanverse because.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see,
there are so many. We talk about A plots and B plots. I mean, if you look at Soap, you might have had like an F or a G plot at one point in any given episode.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, she played Gwen on Soap. And I believe Gwen was one of Jodie's girlfriends because I think, if I remember correctly, he went to the hospital. That they were trying to do some sort of conversion for him because, remember, Jodie was gay. And he was eventually dating, and again, to stir the pot even more, in 1980-81, he was dating an African-American female at one point in that last season. And I think Gwen falls under that same category, or at least in terms of a female that Jodie was dating. So, yeah, she actually, it says 9 episodes. That's a pretty long arc for Soap, especially in that last season, because, again, you had so many things going on that show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Not to mention Wand 1 and Wand 2.
Oh, that was season 4 as well, so that was definitely one of the story arcs.
That's another callback.
Yes, another callback to when we were talking about Joe Mantegna and
Lloyd Faso.
And was it Luis Avalos?
Luis Avalos was on that too. Yeah, the leader of the Wands.
But also Lori Faso. So there's all the Wands right there.
Yep. And she was another one of that person from That Thing. And playing her divorced husband would be Louis Giambalvo, who was also one of that guy from That Thing. He was, oh God, okay. I'm gonna have to breathe here. He was in Barney Miller, Heart to Heart, St. Elsewhere, Hill Street Blues, The Love Boat, Remington Steele, The A-Team, Simon and Simon, Fame, Knots Landing, Murder, She Wrote, Star Trek Voyager, Brooklyn South, Ally McBeal, ER, NYPD Blue, Boston Legal, Without a Trace, CSI, Ugly Betty, Dirty Sexy Money, and Raising the Bar.
Wow. That's some list.
And he played the father of Angelina Jolie's character in the television movie Gia.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a big deal there.
It was, especially for other reasons. You know what I mean, Chico.
And we have Francine Tacker, who plays Annie McIntyre. And Francine Tacker is known as the second person to play Jenna Wade on Dallas. Of course, she was after Morgan Fairchild, but before Priscilla Presley.
Well, also, she was on The Paper Chase.
Yes, she was on The Paper Chase.
Yes, I was going to say before it went to Showtime back in around this time, around 83-ish.
I've heard the name of the paper chase. I don't know what the paper chase is about.
John Houseman. What?
John Houseman, law school. Enough said.
Okay.
As we yell at Greg for not knowing what the paper chase is.
Goddamn classic.
Came out.
Well, if you didn't watch so much damn Wings because you love it so much, you'd know what the paper chase is.
I know. Hey, guys, did you know I love Wings?
No. I opened that box. Oh, I need to shut Pandora's box. Oh, bad Mike. And really, that's like the regular cast. And actually,
there is one more person.
Okay.
And we talked about this person on a previous episode. Well, 2 previous episodes, actually. Randy Heller.
Yeah, I just think she's a guest. She just has a guest spot. I don't know why she's in the Wikipedia entry for some reason.
Yeah, taking a look at IMDb, the first 4 people we talked about were on at least 18 of the 19 episodes. I'm guessing the 19th is the pilot. Francine Tacker was only on 6 episodes.
I'm guessing that
and from there on in, there were minor characters that were on 2 episodes, and then everybody else was on 1.
Well,
yeah.
the show itself was retooled, remember?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you know what else was retooled? And we should have mentioned this at the start of the show.
Well, what's that?
Okay, this show ran 18 weeks.
Oh, yeah. 18 weeks.
18 weeks, or 18 episodes.
18 episodes, yeah.
It had 3 different opening sequences.
It had 3 theme songs.
Yeah, three unique theme songs. Yes, 3 unique theme songs. The version that you heard at the start of the show, that was the theme song from episode 8 till the end of the series. I think that was a fair judgment to use the show, the version used for most of the episodes to introduce this episode. But the original theme song was used only for the first 5 episodes, and then a different theme song was used just for episodes 6 and 7. 3 theme songs and 18 episodes. Maybe that's part of the problem. They couldn't decide on a theme song for this darn show. But yeah, so what you're going to hear is the original open for the first 5 episodes. Then you'll hear the open for episodes 6 and 7. And I'm not going to repeat 8 through 18 because you've already heard that.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Theme is very good.
Oh yeah,
the first theme is very good, and that's something that Greg and I talked about before we started recording the show. The first theme was the best of the 3. I don't know why they changed it, but then it got a little.
The second one's not bad,
but yeah, like I said, it got gradually worse. The first was perfectly fine as is. The second was not bad, but it wasn't as good as the first one. And then the theme song they used for most of the episodes from episode 8 on is just goofy. I mean, almost like stereotypical goofy 80s sitcom music.
I
don't know if they were trying to.
No, I wouldn't say goofy 80s sitcom music. It sounds
I
like
would.
You're in like a 50s movie or something.
Well, the thing is, I'm wondering if they changed the theme song to sort of make it appear more like a comedy than, oh, look how offbeat Madeline is or something like that. That's the only reason I could see for using 3 different theme songs, or at least changing from what was used in the first 8 episodes to what we had. I mean, I don't get why they had the theme song for episodes 6 and 7, but maybe if they saw, we need to, for higher ratings, show that Madeline's goofy and unpredictable and use this goofy music.
She's very much Lucy-like.
You said you made the comparison to Lucy. Well, she does have something in common with Lucy. Her show was shown in reruns in the early 90s. I remember seeing this on USA back in the day. Well, remember, USA back in the day, they showed like all sorts of
everything
sitcoms. Oh, they showed Double Trouble. I think they showed It's Your Move.
It's Your Move, yes.
Yeah, It's Your Move. They showed this. They showed Madam's Place.
If I'm not mistaken, they may have shown Three's a Crowd.
Who hasn't shown Three's a Crowd at this point? Yeah, I remember it was going back to the Ropers. At one point in the first year or 2 of Antenna TV's existence, just like we mentioned last week, that when Three's Company got to the Ropers leaving, they also showed Ropers episodes to as well as Three's Company. When Three's Company reached the end of the road in 1984, what did they do? They showed the entire series of Three's a Crowd. Mind you, that was 1 season. Mind you, that probably would have taken a week and a half. But they gave you the entire canon, the entire legacy of Three's Company, showing both spinoffs and the original series.
In chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I think it's time to look at all 18 episodes, shall we?
Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And one big thing is these episodes, you're going to hear a ton of guest stars. They were loaded with guest stars.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And even in spite of that, it lasted 18 episodes. So, yes, sit back because there's going to be a lot of really big names. And might as well start at the top, guys.
Yeah. Episode 1. That Was No Lady. Madeline creates a mess when she is trapped in the bathroom of Doris's ex-husband during a clandestine mission to help Doris retrieve her diary. So yeah, Madeline's in like this situation where she's in the bathroom of Doris's ex-husband's house.
Which is just absolutely goofballs.
It's actually goofballs because Doris's ex-husband brings his new girlfriend into the bathroom while she's in the shower with a towel. And, ooh, you won't believe what happens.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed is the director of all these episodes is a name we've mentioned in the past, J.D. LeBoux, who I've mentioned a number of times was highly connected with Soap. So this would have been about a year or 2 after Soap was canceled. But he's got quite a resume of shows, starting primarily with Soap. Actually, it started with Just Friends, the Stockard Channing show back in '79. But Madeline, Newhart, he did a number of episodes. It's a Living, and that would have been in the syndicated version. It wouldn't have been the original ABC version.
Right.
And Soul Train?
Soul Train?
62 episodes of Soul Train, according to IMDb. But we mentioned also...
Don Cornelius Soul Train?
No, some sort of rip-off Soul Train. Of course, Don Cornelius Soul Train. But also, we mentioned previously, he had directed Herman's Head, and actually... last show that he did more than 1 episode of was Dharma and Greg in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Okay.
Back before we knew what we know about Thomas Gibson. By the way, he's a jerk. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Spoilers, Chico.
Yeah, we needed spoiler space there.
Spoiler space. Greg brings shame on all other Gregs.
Oh.
Well, sort of like another Greg who I won't mention on the air. Episode 2, Mummy Dearest. At a masquerade party, Doris accuses Madeline of flirting with her ex-husband when she mistakes him for Charlie in a mummy costume.
Ooh, goofballs.
Yeah.
Absolute goofballs.
But we do have one guest star in this episode. Because playing a guest at the party is Liz Sheridan. And Liz Sheridan, you would best know for playing Jerry's mother on Seinfeld.
She also played Mrs. Achmonic on Alf.
Yeah, I was going to say she played Mrs. Achmonic. What the heck is this? You might best know her as Seinfeld's mom. No, I know her as Mrs. Achmonic. Come on.
Hey, most people listening know her as Jerry's mom on Seinfeld.
Yeah, but real fans know her as Mrs. Achmonic on Alf.
I know her for both.
Oh, whatever, Mike.
You're not helping.
I didn't think I was, but whatever.
Episode 3, Portrait of the Artist with a Young Man. Madeline signs up for a pottery class and befriends a young student named Tony, played by Frank Lutz, unaware of his amorous intentions.
Ooh! By the way, Frank Lutz, he was also on a future installment with a young Allison Hannigan called Free Spirit.
Yes!
Oh,
Free
yes!
Spirit!
Yes!
A classic.
Oh, yeah.
A very young Allison Hannigan.
But we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. By the way, that was like my stepmother's an Alien era Allison Hannigan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, that's a young Allison Hannigan at that point.
It's like, this is before Fool Us, this is before Buffy, this is before How I Met Your Mother.
Before American Pie.
Where she stuck a flute up her... Next episode, Greg!
Right.
Hello!
Episode 4, All the World's a Stage. Madeline tries to convince a new friend that her acting partner at the community playhouse is actually her husband.
Yeah, and actually one of the guests on this episode playing Mort is Lee Wilkoff, and we've mentioned his name before because he played Einswine on Delta House.
Oh!
What?
Yeah!
Oh.
And also, he had a regular role on the TV series Max Headroom. I don't think that was the HBO version. I think that was when it went to ABC, I believe.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's on the list, but Max Headroom is definitely on the list as an entity back in the 80s. I don't know if his TV show's on the list though.
Right.
All right.
But just throwing that out there. So yes,
Okay.
Somebody we've actually talked about makes an appearance here.
Episode 5, Book of Love. Madeline is shocked to find Charlie in a romantic pose with an actress played by Trisha Noble, whose memoirs recount her long-ago affair with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that
so
deserves a woo.
Yeah, so in this episode, like, Madeline is like I believe an extra in a street gang in the movie that she's filming. She's the actress is filming in, and there's the part where like her husband goes to meet the actress, and she's like sneaking behind like a prop door.
Charlie! Oh, Charlie!
All right, let me get a look at you. All right, it's official. You look great.
You don't look too shabby yourself. And you got married, right? Her name is,
Madeline.
And what does she do? Is she in the arts, too?
Oh, no. She's saner than the rest of them.
Oh, hey, this is no place to talk. Let's go inside my trailer, okay? Madeline? Your wife?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
I'm just hanging out with the gang.
Episode 6, To Ski or Not to Ski. After she forces a reluctant Charlie to go on a ski weekend together, Madeline tries to keep him from finding out that she has injured her ankle in a skiing accident.
Oh.
That's about as worse as the time Aaron Boone injured his ACL playing pickup basketball.
Ow.
How?
Because remember, that's what happened. That led A-Rod to the Yankees.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Don't remind us.
Episode 7. Madeline acts forward at the retreat. After Madeline criticizes an egotistical novelist played by Jeffrey Tambor, he becomes passionately obsessed with her.
Oh, and Jeffrey Tambor isn't even the biggest guest. Well, he might be.
He might be the biggest guest at the time, but this was also the first acting role for a young ingenue by the name of Jennifer Tilly. And if you don't know who Jennifer Tilly is, Family Guy, the Chucky series, future installment Key West.
Or we'll just watch a poker show because she plays like every poker event.
Or just watch a poker show because she plays like every poker event.
Or the movie Bound with Gina Gershon, which was a very formative movie in my younger years.
Oh, there was another Gina Gershon movie I'm not going to talk about that was formative in my younger years.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking about that one.
Yes. Of course he's talking about Flinch. Anyway.
No, I'm not.
Talking about Showgirls.
You're damn right I am. Oh, by the way, one time I met Joe Esterhaas, and I shook his hand and I said, "Thank you for Showgirls."
Oh, fun fact, you know who's also in Showgirls?
Elizabeth Berkley of previous installment Saved by the Bell Hawaiian Style.
No, that's not where I was going, Chico.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yes!
Of Twin Peaks fame.
Yeah,
no, you see,
damn fine coffee, Greg.
Now you see, where was my mind going? Oh, I wasn't going in that direction. Oh, then you were going. No, she wasn't on Saved by the Bell the college years. Never mind.
But she does appear at the end of Saved by the Bell Wedding in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And she is and she's currently on Saved by the Bell on Peacock.
Yes.
And the overprotective guidance counselor / the overprotective mother of Jamie Spano.
Oh, yeah. Jamie Spano, Chico, he's not that bright.
He's dumb.
And I like that thus far in the episode, on our bingo board, we've crossed off everything goes back to Match Game Hollywood Squares, STTNG. We've got Twin Peaks. I think we're near a bingo, guys.
We have Wings.
Wings.
References to previous installments, references to future installments.
Oh, yeah. I think we may actually have a winner playing bingo at home, so we may have to cough up the $20 gift card to Bennigan's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, episode 8, guys. Chances are.
Oh, wow.
Madeline believes that singer Johnny Mathis is actually a celebrity impersonator that Robert hired to perform at her high school reunion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and obviously Johnny Mathis makes an appearance.
It's like, you know who else makes an appearance on this show?
Let's see if you match who I'm going to say.
Armin Shimmerman.
Wait, Quark from Deep Space Nine?
Quark from Deep Space Nine. And Star Trek The Next Generation before that.
Oh.
That's another box on your bingo cards, folks. Check it off.
DS9.
Ding!
We should have a winner in the next 2 or 3 episodes, I think.
If there's any winners out there, give us a call at the station. Anywho.
All right, Mike, what was it you were going to say?
I wasn't looking at Armin Shimmerman. There was another name that rang a bell, but
they weren't. Paul, I know who Paul Wilson is, and I know who Louise Sorel is.
Well, you see, Louise Sorel was the name that rang a bell, but she was primarily in a bunch of soap operas.
Yeah, among which would be Santa Barbara, which she had a starring role from 84 to 91 and won an Emmy, if I'm not mistaken. Paul Wilson was in It's Gary Shandling's Show, which I remember. I think it was It's Gary Shandling's Show.
That wasn't the one I was looking at. What I saw is he was in a show that you guys call back to all the time, Recess.
Oh,
Coach Kluge.
Okay. Yep.
But also the other one that caught my eye was he was on Cheers, 55 episodes as Paul Crappens.
Okay.
He was on Gary Shandling's show too. You're absolutely right about that. Leonard Smith, yes. And the thing is, if you see the face, you'll be like, I know that guy from somewhere. Well, where you know him from is either Gary Shandling's show or Cheers, because I remember him on Cheers after seeing a picture of him.
Yeah, I remember him from Cheers too.
I remember him from It's Gary Shandling's Show. For once, I'm the oddball.
No, I appreciate Gary Shandling's show, but I just remember him more from Cheers than Gary Shandling.
Okay. All right. What's the next one, Greg?
Episode 9, The Right Stuff. Because get it? The movie The Right Stuff is out at the same time.
Yeah.
Very timely, too, because the Nat Geo series is on Disney Plus right now.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. Madeline ropes Doris into a wacky plan to retrieve every copy of a newspaper edition that she believes contains an article that is damaging to Charlie's career as a writer. Well, Madeline, don't worry, because in 40 years, nobody's going to read newspapers.
And I believe this would be the first episode of the new retooled Oh Madeline, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I think we're.
I think you're one episode off because remember, episode 8 had the third version of the theme song. That would make sense where a retooled version of the show would come with a new retooled theme song or retooled open. So I think you're one episode off.
All right.
Pure speculation, though.
Okay.
Interesting. But
go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I think you got it. I'm going to let you handle it.
Interesting guest shot 2 or 3 years before head of the class, William G. Schilling.
Yes, and we mentioned William G. Schilling because he was a guest star in previous installment, Open All Night.
Open all night.
So that's 2 appearances now for William G. Schilling on this podcast,
and probably the only time I get to mention Space Jam because he was actually in the golfing scene.
He was in the He was in the golfing scene with Michael Jordan.
He was in the golfing scene with Michael Jordan and Wayne Knight and Bill Murray. All golfing.
What a friggin' foursome! You have the principal from head of the class with Bill Murray, Michael Jordan, and Newman.
That was the lost episode of the Last Dance right there.
Yeah, that would have been awesome if they had William G. Schilling in The Last Dance.
But unfortunately, William G. Schilling's no longer with us.
Yeah,
though.
I know. But they could have had some scenes on the cut. They probably could have had outtakes on the cutting room floor that they could have just spliced into The Last Dance.
Oh, but this is not the last time we're going to talk about William Schilling, because just a year later, he appears in 5 episodes of ER, not that ER, the one with George Clooney back in 1984.
I was about to say, it's like, you sure it wasn't not that ER?
No,
E/R. The other one was just ER.
E/R with Jason Alexander and Elliot Gould.
Yeah, among other people, yes.
And George Clooney.
And some kid named George Clooney, absolutely.
He's got a nice mullet.
Oh,
hey, did you know he worked on his dad's show, The Money Maze?
There's a previous installment. Ding!
Call back.
Well, we're going to have a reference to another future episode in the video in episode 10. Sisters. Madeline's long-lost sister, Joyce, played by Melanie Chartoff, comes to visit and sets her romantic sights on Robert and Charlie. Ooh! Now, Melanie Chartoff appears in future installment Fridays, but she's also notable for two things. First, she was the voice of Dee Dee Pickles on Rugrats, Chico.
I do know that.
And second, she was Chico.
Mm-hmm.
Say it.
Ms. Musso.
In
Parker Lewis.
Can't Lose.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And we know why Parker Lewis can't lose.
Because he can't lose.
Can't
it's
lose.
right there in the name of the show, yeah.
Well, what would happen if Madeline Kahn went up against Parker Lewis? Who would win then?
No, Parker Lewis would definitely win, because we all know he can't lose.
He's right. Anyway.
At best, Madeline Kahn would go to a draw with Parker Lewis, because he can't lose. Okay. Right. Episode 11. Wilderness. Madeline and Charlie end up in jail when they help an innocent-looking man while on a camping trip. Ooh. I can only guess why they ended up in jail.
Well, you know who threw him in jail?
Who?
Joe Regal Budo.
And you know who that name is. Seriously? I'm talking to Greg here. I'm not talking to our dear audience. He was Frank Fontana on Murphy Brown.
Oh, yeah, he was. He was Frank Fontana on Murphy Brown.
Yeah. But also another guest that we should talk about. Legendary voice, Frank Welker.
Man of 1,000 voices, yes.
I think
we talked about him in the past. We talked about him on The Duck Factory, I believe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Frank Welker, a legend in voiceovers.
It's like, if you don't know who Frank Welker is, what podcast are you even listening to?
Transformers, come on, people.
Come on, he was Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo, he was in Winnie the Pooh. Come on.
Troll Hunters on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
many
right.
things.
Yeah.
But, buckle down, because this next episode, we've got somebody who we talked about in previous installments, and an absolute legend. I'll just say that,
and we got
without further commentary.
And a major guest star later on in the episode.
So
okay.
we have a major guest star and a major legend.
Yeah. All right. Episode 12. Monday Night Madeline. Madeline becomes personally involved in a wrestling match after landing a job as a television sports commentator. So what happens is there's this television station that has changed formats, which will let basically anybody on the air.
Anybody.
So it's like public access, in other words.
Yeah, public access. Mm-hmm. So Madeline gets on the air, and she tries to become a news anchor at first. And
play the clip.
We're going to play the clip in a second. But I want to also note something about the open of the shows. I think this is specifically in the final version when it was retooled after the 7th episode.
Yeah.
They actually showed, at least on the versions on YouTube, which were, I'm presuming, syndicated prints, they actually showed kind of like spoilers, footage from the episode itself without any context, presumably just to show, here's a funny bit or maybe the funniest bit. And this was the spoiler-ish segment they showed for this episode. And this, just roll the clip.
I'm Madeline Wayne, and I would like a job. Nothing glamorous. Something behind the scenes. Mary Tyler Moore's old job would do quite nicely.
Want a fair chance? You audition like everyone else. Come around here and sit at the anchor desk.
Hey. Oh, my, looks like it's raining in Kansas. No, that's just a little bit of dirt. I'll just pass it right. Oh, my, that looks like the day after.
Yeah, so they referenced the day after.
That's not dark.
Apologies to the state of Kansas.
That's not dark at all.
Apologies to the state of Kansas and Braden Stoddard's sanity.
And we did sneak this into the preview for 2021. If you listen carefully to our little montage, we stuck that in there. But you know what? Even though we had a reference to the day after, I don't think that even comes close to the two special guests we had in this episode. Well, I shouldn't say special, but the two guests we had in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
We mentioned one. It was a legend. Legendary.
But first, we got to mention the proprietor of the television station is somebody we mentioned in two previous episodes.
Yes.
Ernie Sabella.
Yes, of course. He of It's Your Move, of
Davis Rules.
Of course, Mr. Pumbaa from The Lion King.
And I think we've got to mention it. He was Mr. Carsey on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the father of one of the girls.
He's the father of Leia Remini.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But that wasn't the legend. Yes, Ernie Sabella is legendary, but that wasn't the legend.
Oh yeah, because playing the wrestling announcer, folks.
And this is true to life. This really is true to life. This isn't. He actually did this at one point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dennis James.
Yes.
Yes.
And this was actually his second to last credit on IMDb. Apparently, about a year before he died, he was on a show called The Method, or maybe that's a movie called The Method. But yeah, this is like his last TV appearance, because he didn't do anything after the new Price is Right, I don't think.
No,
and he would have been off of that by 1977, I believe.
Yeah, and this was his. And you said it yourself, this was his penultimate role.
And his ultimate, well, his penultimate role, period, but his ultimate role on television, it appears.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just hilarious. He's like portraying a drunk wrestling announcer, and like he's got like a slide whistle for like the sound effects for when the wrestlers beat each other up.
Yeah.
This really is a great episode on so many levels.
Yeah.
If you watch any of them, and we should mention it right now, all 18 episodes are on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody who was wise beyond his years, 30 years ago when they were rerun on USA, recorded all of them, and they're all on YouTube. So, yeah, this is, I would say, is our recommended episode because, the whole Dennis James thing, but also B, I'm sorry. The day after joke might be one of the darkest jokes I've ever seen on a primetime TV show.
Yeah.
From that era, at least.
Yeah, I mean, if we did it now, people might not get it. But the thing is, that aired in 1983, so that's fresh on people's minds.
That's fresh on people's minds, and it was the highest rated TV movie of all, and it will always be the highest rated TV movie of all time because there's like 150 channels and there's streaming services, so nothing's ever going to top the ratings it got.
I don't know. The Jacksons and American Dream came close, or was that a miniseries?
That was a miniseries.
Okay. Yeah, I'm too used to it airing as one gigantic movie on VH1. So.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a really good movie. You should watch it.
Anywho. And it has Billy D in it.
And it has Billy D.
And Barry Gordy.
And Angela Bassett. And Boyz II Men.
Boyz II Men. Come on.
Okay, you know what? That's for a future installment. Let's
Yeah. We could actually do that as a future installment, possibly, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
By the
way, guys, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what Dave Meltzer rated the work rate in that wrestling match. Oh, he was like, 2 stars, didn't happen at Budokan Hall. Work rate sucked. On his manual typewriter he used for the Observer back then. Episode 13. The Lady and the Lamp. Madeline panics when she wakes up in Robert's bed with a hangover and no recollection of what happened the night before.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Drunk Madeline had fun.
Oh, yeah. She was getting busy, I bet.
So she would have gotten busy with no one of any importance.
Yeah. So let's just go straight ahead to episode 14. Things that go bump in the night.
I thought we had this episode already.
Madeline makes a valiant effort to protect Robert from his girlfriend's jealous ex-boyfriend on the same night a burglar strikes.
I think I know who plays the ex-boyfriend on this episode.
Oh yeah. I'll mention it because I'm way ahead of you.
Somebody we talked about on this show before.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely, indeed. We're talking about Patrick Collins. Where have you heard that name? He played Dave Noonan on Supertrain.
Oh!
Yes!
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie to you.
That's great.
You know who else was on this episode?
Who?
Melanie Vince.
What's she known for?
She was one of the two models on the mid-'80s version of Let's Make a Deal.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah. She's a really good actress on her own merits, and she mostly worked in the 80s though.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize her name. Wow, that's a good find.
And aside from Let's Make a Deal, her most noted role, adult DJ on Full House.
Oh,
jeez. Adult DJ. No.
Oh wait, and Mike?
I'm listening.
She was also on an episode of Night Court.
You can use your little dauber and stamp that off of your bingo card too. We're getting close to a bingo. I think the phones are starting to light up. We might be like 1 or 2 squares away from a winner.
And she was also on an episode of Auto Man.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. Oh, hold on. The boards are lighting up. I think we have a winner.
We sure that somebody on this show wasn't on Manimal?
No. Nobody on this show was on Manimal, I don't think. Anyway.
Yeah, that might have been a conflict because that was the same season.
Unless they were using the same footage.
Episode 15, My Mother the Colonel. Madeline is shocked when she discovers her prim and proper mother, played by Geraldine Fitzgerald, had an affair with a stand-up comedian played by Bill Macy several years ago.
I wonder what Madeline's father, played by Ray Walston, has to say about this.
Oh,
yeah.
Listen to that. Two big guests, because everybody knows who Bill Macy is, or at least, again, if you're listening to this podcast, you should know. He played Walter Finley on Maude.
Yeah, he was
Maude.
Maude's
husband.
Yeah. It's like we have Maude's husband, we have Martin the Martian, and we have Geraldine Fitzgerald, who is just old Hollywood legend. Oh my God.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you think Geraldine Fitzgerald was the subject of an episode on Future Installment, Hollywood Babylon with Tony Curtis?
Oh, God.
Now, you see, I was going to mention, when we're talking about Ray Walston, how can we not mention Mr. Hand?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mr.
I mean, seriously, yeah, we talk about My Favorite Martian, which is classic in and of itself, but how do we not mention him as Mr. Hand on Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yeah, that's probably what most people today would know him best as.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't know many places that would rerun My Favorite Martian nowadays. I know I haven't seen it probably in 30 years.
Neither have I, and like you said, that show is just iconic. Why would you?
I do know Ray.
It had Bill Bixby, for heaven's sakes.
It did. I do know Ray Walston was in the movie version of My Favorite Martian with Jeff Daniels and Christopher Lloyd back in '99.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he would be doing Picket Fences concurrently.
No, Picket Fences would have been long done by '99.
Yeah, Picket Fences was done by '96.
Oh, my mistake. I spent all of my high school years watching Picket Fences, so they just kind of blur together there.
Hey, you know what? I don't blame you, because who doesn't love Five-ish Finkel?
Nobody doesn't love Five-ish Finkel.
Everybody should love Five-ish Finkel. I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there.
All right.
I just looked at the next episode, Greg.
Yeah. Yep. Episode 16, Ladies' Night Out. On a night out with Doris and Faye, Madeline dances with male strippers.
Zippers!
and then loses a fortune in money at a gambling casino.
Uh-oh.
And this is the episode with Randy Heller that we mentioned previously. But also, playing a gambler in this episode as a guest star, Robert Donner.
Yeah, he would have just been off of Mork and Mindy, so...
Yep. Yeah, Mork and Mindy would have been done 82.
Yep.
Well, okay, so... Okay, maybe not just, but a couple of years removed from Mork and Mindy. And, of course, we know him from Mork and Mindy as Exodore.
Yep. The odd alienist, yes.
Episode 17, Play Crystal for Me. Madeline disguises herself as a flamboyant author so she can appear on a TV talk show with a competing romance novelist played by Charles Ludlam, who is a man posing as a woman.
Because if you've ever seen Charles Ludlam, that's his thing. His thing is he's a man who poses as a woman. Unfortunately, I think this was his last role. No, this was not his last role. He was on several movies and TV shows after, but he sadly is no longer with us.
All right, so now we get to the final episode. Episode 18, A Little Fight Music. Faye invites Madeline to perform in a concert staged by the community theater, but Madeline gets stage fright and is unable to sing during the audition. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, you know who was in this episode?
Who?
Brandon Maggart, known for two things. One, his role as Lou Waters on the dim-witted older brother on Brothers, and two, being Fiona Apple's daddy.
Oh,
there's more than that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He was George Eliot on Jennifer Slept Here.
Him too.
Too. Which was like episode 3 or 4, I believe.
Yeah, the one I wasn't on.
The one you missed. But also he played Mike Donovan on, and I know this is on the list because I added it. Chicken Soup.
Woohoo!
Jackie Mason sitcom there, Greg. I knew you were going to say, well, what's Chicken Soup? That. But also, actually,
he would have been done with Brothers by that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm sure. But also, he sort of made an appearance. This is very loosey-goosey. On the It Lasted One Season Too Long episode, he played Uncle Dudley on the Married with Children episode called A Babe in Toyland, where he basically got fired from his children's TV show hosting gig, and Kelly replaced him, and the entire show was revamped.
Yep.
So there you go. And you can check off Married with Children off your bingo cards now, even though we got a winner like 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago, more like 20 minutes ago, Mike.
We have a winner. That's all I'm saying. And enjoy the $20 gift card to Bennigan's that expired back in 2004.
Thank you, Andy.
And that was that. Wait, that's it? That's all?
That's it.
That's 18, yeah.
Okay, guys, so that's the show. Now, let's get into the heart of it. What went wrong here?
Whenever something goes wrong, our first inclination is always look at the schedule. And the schedule had on Tuesdays, fall of 1983, Just Our Luck, Happy Days, Three's Company, Oh Madeline, and Heart to Heart. So it wouldn't have been that's a really good slot between Three's Company and Heart to Heart, except Three's Company and Heart to Heart would both be on the decline, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, both shows were in their last season.
It was up against
the CBS Tuesday Night Movie
and
Remington Steele
in the fall and Riptide during the winter.
That's another stamp on your bingo card.
You took it from me. You're darn right it's another stamp on your bingo card.
and also I'm looking at, because it lasted from September to March. It didn't even make it to the May sweeps I believe they just reran it until the summer when they put Hotel in that slot.
Yeah.
Which would be another show that premiered that season.
Yeah.
But it presumably was more popular than O'Madeline because it lasted forever until its cancellation, where O'Madeline just lasted the season.
Yeah. But, I mean, look at the future.
I'm looking at 2 future entries on this grid right now.
Yeah, Just for Luck and AKA Pablo. This ranked for the season 50th, tied with Different Strokes and Matt Houston. Now, Different Strokes would have definitely been on the decline at this point, starting around this year, 83, 84.
Yeah, when your kids are growing up to be teenagers, it starts to get kind of awkward, and then you have the kids on Different Strokes, even more awkward.
Yeah, and Matt Houston would have been in its second season at that point because it lasted 3 years.
But also about Different Strokes, please let's remember that 83, 84 was the last season we had Nidra Vols on there. Stamp off another part of your bingo card.
That old bag.
Oh, shut up. So anywho, yeah, you had Different Strokes, which was the show on the decline that I mentioned earlier. And Matt Houston, I mean, that had a decent run. I mean, it wasn't anything that
3 years.
We're going to put on one of the best shows of all time. So, yeah, maybe they just got into desperate mode with the retooling and all that, and it just wasn't worth saving. But, again, it had comparable ratings to, one of the great sitcoms from that era, albeit, slumping at that point.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm thinking of myself, and I'm looking at everything that's going on in the late 70s and early 80s. One of the big things was, if we needed a hit sitcom, let's take a British hit sitcom and Americanize it. We had Archie Bunker, Three's Company, All in the Family.
Too Close for Comfort.
Too Close for Comfort.
We talked about the Ropers last week.
We did talk about and that just needs to be a thing. Oh, Three's a Crowd. So it reads to me like there was absolutely no thought put into the development of this show. It's like, okay, let's put Madeline Kahn in the most wackiest of hijinks imaginable. And there was really no thought about it. There's no thought.
No. But I will say, Madeline Kahn, she was great on this show.
Oh, she was totally great on this show.
Yep. But remember, about a year later, Madeline Kahn would be in her most famous role in Clue.
As Mrs. White.
Yep.
Yeah. And one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for eBay Price is Right.
Oh, boy.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. That's the first time you said, oh, good for eBay Price is Right ever.
Well, because it's Madeline, so...
I can't. You know what, Mike? I can't wait to see what you found for this.
Well, what it is. And this is a little different. It's a photo. We've done plenty of press photos of, we talked about the Ropers last week with Helen Roper feeding Stanley grapes and stuff like that. This one's a little different. This is a photo, apparently. It's listed as a photo, and it's 7x9, so it's a little smaller than 8x10. And what it is simply an image on photo paper of the O'Madeline logo.
Okay.
It has the O'Madeline logo, not as it appears on screen. So this was like a logo that was used in print, and actually seeing some ads in newspapers and TV Guide for O'Madeline. I have seen this before, so this wasn't like something that was never used. It was used, looked like on TV Guide. And it just says, Oh, Madeline, starring Madeline Kahn. It's black and white. It's very basic, very generic. But it is on eBay right now as a buy it now item. And as always, I would love to know the buy it now price in dollars and cents. And I think we started with Greg last time, so I'm going to start with Chico.
Okay. I'm going to go $12.50 on this.
$12.50. Okay, Greg.
$13.
Ooh, you're a tricky son of a gun. Well, if you want this Oh Madeline print logo, sit down, guys. $27.99.
Oh.
What?
You heard the man. $27.99.
I was thinking about going $9.99, but wow.
That was, I thought I overshot it. I honestly did.
I was considering either $9.99 or 1 penny.
And now you know why I chose that item. Because when I saw the price, it's like, yeah, you guys are going to undershoot this. You're going to underestimate this by so much. So it's like, yeah, $27.99 for a logo. You guys are going to be like, no, absolutely not. But there it is, $27.99 for a print O Madeline logo on photo paper 7x9, or at least what appears to be photo paper. And they've got the link. They've seen it. And yeah, it's actually real.
Oh yeah, that is real, all right.
Real expensive is what it is.
Real.
That's the only real. That's the only real it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the same seller, I could buy an ABC News Brief logo for $24.99.
Hey, that looks pretty cool. I might want to buy that.
Oh yeah, I would too. That probably went up anytime Frank Reynolds had like a breaking scoop.
And that Oh Madeline logo looks very 50s. I'm sorry. That logo that seller was selling.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo, and it's like that's sort of the logo they used in the print ads. That's not like the photo they used in show.
Right? Yeah, that's why I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's
the
it's
photo
definitely
was
used in print ads.
Yeah. Well, that's Oh Madeline. And it was goofy. It was actually incredibly goofy, but not goofy enough to last more than a season. So, in 1984, it was a thing on TV.
Yep.
And it had a ton of great guest stars, not just present guest stars at that time, but people who'd go on to pretty big roles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Rigobudo.
Jennifer Tilly.
Ernie
Absolutely
Sabella.
Jennifer Tilly, yes. Absolutely.
Ernie Sabella, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't forget, at our website, itwasathingontv.com, we have all our past episodes, and that's over 125 at this point. Well, actually, it's 125 on the nose because this is 126, but there's a couple of live shows up there, and we've got mini-sodes. And, speaking of mini-sodes, a new one's going to be popping up this week. We're not going to say anything about the topic of that. You'll see it eventually. And also, don't forget, as always, look for us on whatever podcast source you use. If you want to use Spotify or Stitcher or Apple Podcasts, we're everywhere. And if you don't have a podcast program preference, boy, that's easy to say. Don't forget, just go to the website. We've got all the episodes there. You can download them and listen to them while you're working or whatnot. And don't forget about the socials. We're on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter, and also on the IG, as the kids call it. We're on YouTube. Plenty of episodes are there if you want to listen on YouTubes. And we also have the weekly Place to Be Nation pop drop. Right,
Yep.
Greg?
Yeah, this week we got the Ropers and Jeopardy, not the original run nor the current version. And speaking of our last two episodes, right now as we speak, the download counts on those two episodes. Wow, they're at over 70 right now.
And our listeners, we know, based on these numbers and previous numbers, you love your episodes about game shows. Well, guess what's coming up next?
Is it a game show?
No, I thought we were going to go back and look at News Nation.
No,
of course it's about a game show.
Yeah.
Is it a game show about trivia?
Yes, it is. And
is
you know
it a
what
game
else?
show about the wonderful world of trivia?
It is a game show about the wonderful world of trivia. But you know what else it's a game show about?
Sweaters!
No. Traps.
It's a trap!
And that is... okay, you know what? We just lost Mike, so I'll just say it. That'll do. That's coming up this Thursday. Until then, we'll see you with another thing on TV. Thanks for listening. We'll see you around.
Wow!
This is incredible! Not so incredible as what happened next. After we all split up again, I went upstairs with you. Yes, you, Mrs. White. And while I was in the master bedroom, you hurried downstairs and turned off the electricity, got the rope from the open cupboard, and throttled Yvette. You were jealous that your husband was stopping Yvette. That's why you killed him, too.
Yes. Yes, I did it. I killed Yvette. I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, heaving breaths